The Hitman's Bodyguard. Good cast, funny trailer, but how's the movie? The Hitman's Bodyguard is directed by Patrick Hughes, and it stars Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, Elodie Young, Selma Hayek, and Gary Oldman. Ryan Reynolds plays a top bodyguard who has to protect and escort an elite hitman, Samuel L. Jackson, who must testify at the International Court of Justice. However, they are forced to overcome many obstacles in order to make it to the trial on time. The comedy in this film was on point. It was very Deadpool-esque. You know, that kind of deadpan humor, Ryan Reynolds especially, which I guess is expected because he does actually play Deadpool. And what I also liked about it was there was a lot of action sequences, editing, and just camera movements that really added to the humor as well. None of the jokes never felt like they were getting repeated or used too long. They were all nice and varied in their execution, yet matched the tone of the movie as a whole. And that's really where this movie really could have failed. If the comedy wasn't done right, this would have just been a terrible movie. Happy to say it wasn't. They even did a really short one-shot sequence for comedic effect where Ryan Reynolds' character is fighting one of the henchmen who just won't die. I'm not going to go into specifics because I don't want to ruin the movie, but it is hilarious. The third and final act in this film is how you do the final act. It's just edge of your seat stuff for the last 40 minutes and it just flies by like that. When it ends, you're actually wanting more. Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson play the two leads. And I would say that they really embrace their characters. They don't just phone it in, which is kind of what I was expecting. I mean, I guess they're technically kind of playing themselves, or at least their stereotyped selves, but it still comes across very sincere and very funny. You never feel like you're just watching two actors acting in a film. They are the characters. Their chemistry together and their characters' relationship and back and forth is done excellently, which is definitely what you need when the film is focused on both of them. And you really do believe that both their characters are the best at what they do. It's not one of these ones where they just claim to have done loads of things and we never actually see it proven that they can do stuff like that. Valerian, I'm looking at you. Yeah, you actually see them do things, and even the way they talk make you believe that they can actually do half the stuff that they're meant to have done. Like for Ryan Reynolds' character, he's the bodyguard, so he has to always be aware of everything that's going on, and he always has to look at the logical and safest way to do things. And I like how in this they make fun of the things that they're meant to be really good at. Like for example, one of my favorite scenes in the film, Ryan Reynolds is talking to some guy, and then behind him there's just all this chaos and madness happening everywhere. And he's meant to be the one that's aware of everything going on at all times. But that's the thing, Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, their characters had layers. They had character development, and you really understood why their characters acted the way they do. Every supporting character, and even the villain in the film played by Gary Oldman, are extremely one-dimensional. I know, another movie with more one-dimensional characters. Woohoo. This is a trend I am not liking. At least it wasn't the main characters this time. So yeah, all the other characters felt like they were just there to serve the plot. There wasn't really much to them, and they even felt cartoonish at times, which I guess does work for the movie because it is a comedy. You're not going in looking for a character piece. And even though the final act is extremely well paced, the first act, especially the opening scenes, take quite a while to get going. I would say this movie really kicks off once Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, once their characters meet. CGI in this film was okay. There were a couple of moments I felt it was very obvious it was CGI. Like early on in this film, one of Ryan Reynolds' clients, he saves him, and then the guy's car blows up, and then part of the car lands near them. It just looks very computer generated and obviously wasn't there. I don't even think it needed that, to be honest. Like, that did not even need to happen, and it would have just been much better. And yeah, there was one fart joke in this movie. Fair enough, everyone, myself included, did laugh, but I think that was more because it was so random and unexpected. It just comes out of nowhere. And it doesn't actually add anything to the movie. Really could have done without that. And then extremely early on in this movie, Samuel L. Jackson gets a leg injury. They're making a big deal about it. He's limping, there's blood, all that stuff. And then about halfway through the movie, he just goes on full sprint no problem. He's running with no issues whatsoever. And then 20 minutes later, back to limping. It just felt like they were forgetting about it, then remembering, then forgetting about it, and just so on and so forth. So that kind of bugged me a bit. There is one thing I would have actually liked to see them explore more in this movie, and that's through one of the lines that Samuel L. Jackson says at one point. I'm making this more family friendly, of course, but there is a line where he says, "Who is more wicked? He who kills bad people or he who protects them?" This is really the only time this is touched on in this film, and I really would have liked to see where that could have gone. I mean, I buy the way their relationship goes in the movie, I really do buy that. It's just that I would have liked to have seen that concept explored more. Overall, I would say that many things in this movie should not have worked, but they did. And I think that's because they established the tone very well, very early on in this film. So you just accepted things that happened. I would really call this a popcorn film. You know, the type of film where you can just go in, sit back, relax, laugh, have a good time, and just enjoy the ride. I would give The Hitman's Bodyguard a 7.3 out of 10. If you like action, comedy, and don't mind swearing, this is a film for you. Like I said, it is like a buddy cop film, but technically it's not. This is definitely not the next Lethal Weapon. Not even on the same level, but they're not trying to be the next Lethal Weapon. They're trying to go more for the funny in this film. I'm actually really wanting to go see this film again because it is just so funny. Oh yeah, and I should say that just before I finish this review, wait till the end credits because there is a funny outtake that you will enjoy. I actually felt that was a nice touch. You don't really see that very much these days where there's outtakes at the end of the film. I actually really enjoy it when they do that. So do you think you're going to go see The Hitman's Bodyguard, or have you already seen it? What were your thoughts on it? Why not write them down in the comments below and let's have a discussion. Also, while you're here, and if you enjoyed this video, why not hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so you can see the next movie review that I put online. Until next time, see ya.